to Too Many Hats podcast with your host with the most, Tony and Lavelle. Every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock That He. Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. Too Many Hats podcast.
Top of the morning to you, my good people. Happy Thursday on this beautiful Thursday morning, man. Glad to have you back, my brother. I know you was out taking care of business yesterday with your wife. Glad to have you back, man. Glad that everything went well. I was just sharing with you before we got on here, man, that, even Cheryl's surgery went well yesterday. So, man, we thank all of you guys, man, for tuning in yesterday, man, offering your prayers and both of them came through well on their surgeries yesterday and doing good today.
Yep, Monica. Don told me to thank you and Monica personally when she said, "Make sure you get on, say something to Monica and Tony." And I said that they posted Monica got legs. My auntie called me. I was getting ready to leave, and I already knew she was calling for, and so she left a message. Call me. I'm just trying to see what's going on. And then she was like, "So is it true that Don had surgery?" I'm like, "I was somebody put something out there like that if it ain't true." I said, a lot of times, stuff be going on. You can't let everybody know what's going on. You be
right.
And then some other folk were calling me. I was Don cousin mama saw the post, and her cousin didn't know, so her cousin inboxed me. She was like, "What's wrong? What's going on with Don?" Yeah.
Hey, but hey, that bodes well with our post, our conversation yesterday about.
I know it. I thought about it.
Yeah, that bodes like if you cut off your phone. So we were sitting in the hospital yesterday, and I was sitting in the surgery waiting room with a couple of friends, and I was telling them about the show, and then I said, if you really want to know if somebody really care about you, thinking about you, man, just cut that phone off for a week and don't contact nobody. See what happens. She said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." She said, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna cut my phone off. I am."
Yeah.
And then I said, this, and then her other friend said, "You stay by yourself?" She said, "No, I stay with my son." I said, "Oh, well, that might not be because they're gonna call your son." She said, "That broke your phone off." I said, "Oh, well, it might work for you then. If his phone off, it might work for you."
Right.
Yeah, man. So we got another good one for y'all today, man. This is really good for people who maybe are considering marriage and just want to check the boxes off prior to getting married. But what are important things that should be discussed before getting married? Now, and I would even venture to say before even getting engaged. Not, let alone married, but like before you even consider getting engaged to somebody, because even getting engaged to somebody means there's some kind of commitment because you going by a ring. Good morning, Cheryl. We just got to talk about you. Good morning, Pops.
Mm-hmm.
Getting engaged means that somebody, at least the man, is probably went and got a ring and ready to propose. And sometimes, with the way things have been going lately, man, people are coming up with all of these elaborate ways to propose to people, which costs money, So before you start spending that type of money, you might want to just look and see, like, hey, before I get married or before we get married, either get engaged, what are some things, that we should be talking about and discussing before getting married? Because what happens is we jump out there, we don't discuss these things, and then all of these things start to hit us once we're married, and we're like, man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about this or that. So with that in mind, like, what are some things, if you've been married before, or if you're married now, what are some things that you either discussed prior to getting married, or some things that you wish you had to discuss?
Mm.
Because sometimes we don't. It's one of them on the job training things. I think for me, um, me and Monica was a little different because we had actually lived together about a year before we actually got married. Good morning, Miss Loretta. Before we actually got married, we had lived together for about a year, and us living together really, we started asking and talking about things prior to. So I think there were some things that I probably wish we had still kind of talked about, and one of the things I wish we had to really talk about and discuss in detail was, you know, how we wanted to kind of plan out our future in terms of like with our finances and stuff like that. Because we just kind of jumped in there. We weren't worried about no finance. Who had a job, didn't have a job. We just kind of jumped in there, and I think that's probably should have been at the top of the list almost.
Mhm.
But we were just so excited about the idea of getting married that we really didn't talk about. We talked about some things, but we really didn't discuss that because I think we both kind of felt like we were so young that our careers could go any kind of way because we were so young, and what we were doing, and we both knew that what we were doing at the time we got married, we knew we wasn't gonna probably be doing it long term. So I think that's probably why we didn't have that deep dive discussion with it. But I think there are a lot of things that you should discuss. And some of the things, like I said, are like obvious things or should be obvious. I don't want to just, but probably should be obvious that we don't talk about. Um, because one of the things I think you should talk about is, hey, keeping, and let's discuss keeping family and friends out of our business, whatever it may be. If we have a disagreement, that we don't bring other people in our business, and I think that should be something that you talk about as well. And how does that look? And then if the woman is a dad's daughter, dad's daughter type, where dad be in all the business, or the son is a mama's boy and mama be all in the business. You might want to have that discussion prior to, because it could cause some rifts in your relationship later on if you don't have those discussions up front. And
Mm.
so, I think, I do think, like, religious aspects of the relationship should be discussed, especially if you guys didn't meet in church, or if that's kind of new of you, because you could come from two different backgrounds, religious background. You could come from, somebody could be um, Muslim, and somebody could be Christian, and you got to feel like, how does that tie into what we long term, what does that look like, and so I mean, because you guys been dating, I would assume you've been dating for a while, or even been living together, and so with that, that could be major depending on where you are in your relationship with God, or that particular religion. So I think that's another thing. But I got a couple of things. I want to add this thing to the stage. I'm gonna take this question down. I want to be able to see it. So before you get married, discuss the bills. I think you should, like, if y'all ain't talked about what bills y'all have, this is it's probably gonna be a rude awakening. When you finally get married and you realize that she got 600,000 in credit card debt, student loans, and all this stuff. You're like, wait a minute, and we didn't talk about this. But I think those are some things that you should actually talk about. The bills, who has what bills, and maybe even prior to getting married, hey, let's try to pay off some bills. Let's get together and try to pay some things off. Let me pay off some stuff, you pay off some stuff, so we won't go into this thing with a whole pile of debt. Um, Another thing that goes probably along with the bill. Well, a couple of things is the credit. You know, what's your credit look like? Let's pull some credit reports because if we going into this thing uh, and we got amount of debt or we don't have any debt, maybe we don't have any debt. You know, you don't have any debt, I don't have any debt, I don't have any credit. Maybe you might have a 700 credit score. You know what I'm saying? So those are things like, you know, especially if you're trying to buy a house, you want to go in there and you're like, hey, we're gonna buy a house, but you get in there and both of y'all got a 400 credit score. It might be a little difficult for y'all to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you want to talk about, and these may be some things that um you may be embarrassed to talk about, but if you're talking about getting married, ain't no embarrassing conversations for me. Especially, you know, because I'd rather for us to find out now than get married and then you be like, cause we know we could possibly say, hey, well, you know, we got a year, we plan a year before we get married, we got a year to work on your credit, you know, whatever. So Mel says, she says, good morning, children. Good morning, children, finances, health screenings, goals, family background, sex, mental health, religion. Well, Mel got a whole list of stuff. And a lot of that stuff kind of falls on this list that I currently have on the screen now. Uh, I think the bills, the credit, and the financial expectations, I think that's a group conversation that you should talk. That should be one of the first things that you should be talking about, right? How,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what the bills look like if we have bills, what the credit look like. If you don't have credit, you have credit. If the credit is bad, and what are the financial expectations? What are we looking to get? You know, what are we looking to gain? Are we looking to, you know, based on our current jobs, our current situation? So just say the first two are cool. We don't have a lot of bills. Both of us got really good credit scores. So what are the financial extra? What do we want to do? We want to purchase a house. We want to make sure that we got this amount eventually saved up and saved. So that's the goal. So you want to talk about some of those financial expectations and stuff up in ahead. Then I think once you do that, then you started looking at, do either one of you guys have kids? If you have kids, how old are the kids? Or if you don't, neither one of you have kids, hey, what are our plans for having children? Do we plan on having children? If we do, how many do we plan on having? You know, because sometimes children are not planned, they just happen. You know, but I think if you talk about that, you can better prepare for it and you can include those into your financial goals and expectations as well when you're talking about. But and so if you don't have any children, it's kind of really hard to talk about a parenting style. But you can say, hey, if we have children, what kind of how do you want to parent these kids? You know, because we gotta be on one accord. Like, so what are your expectations around discipline? What are your expectations around this schooling, whatever? Uh, you know, are you a do you think you'll be a laid back kind of parent? Do you think you'll be one of those strong people that's kind of on the child head? You know what I'm saying? So that's all the stuff that you should be talking about. And I think that are really, really good things. Happiness. What makes you happy? What are some things that makes you happy in the relationship or just in life, period? You know, it's important. Look, man, everybody, man, you know, sometimes it seems like people don't understand or know how to pick up on these love language signals or love language uh, demeanors or the way I move or way I operate. Sometimes this stuff is oblivious to people. Like it can be right there before their eyes, and they don't see it until it's too late, until the person that checked out and gone on. Then now they I now see. Oh, that's what he was trying to tell me all along.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just having an open and all of this, man, goes back to what Lavelle and I have been talking about since day one with this show, and that is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Having this discussion means that we're communicating about these things, you know, uh, what makes us happy, childhood traumas. This may be hard to talk about, but you know, if you're in a place uh, where you can talk about childhood trauma, especially if you're with a person that you really believe, you know, you believe in, you trust, and you know that they got your best interest at heart, you know, you should be able to, you ought to be able to share, you know, if you've experienced some childhood trauma, so they'll know, you know, I don't want to go into the relationship and then three years into the relationship, I find out that you experienced a childhood trauma because something happened and it triggered something, and then you shot off on me, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute, what I do? Then you want to tell me I experienced that as a child. Well, I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you don't share those childhood traumas or things that may have happened to you as a child, exactly, marriage isn't a one size fit all. You got to talk about it. Good morning, Zoe.
Ooh.
And so these are things that you should be talking about. Again, I said before you even get engaged, let alone married. I think that these conversations should be had before you even get engaged, because that may save you some time and some money and some energy.
Mm-hmm.
Past life experiences, maybe some experiences that y'all. So like, I think Monica and I, we were so young that we grew together in a lot of areas. But sometimes people come together later on in life when they're already in their 30s and 40s and 50s, and you know, you may have already experienced some life experiences, some things that have happened to you that another person may have not have experienced. You know, and if you're a person that loves to travel, then you got with somebody that's a homebody, don't want to do nothing. That may put a damper on y'all relationship because you gonna say, "Well, I'm still gonna travel." And the person like, "Well, you always travel, you spending money traveling." Well, you knew this. Well, maybe I didn't know that because we never discussed it like that. So, you want to talk about those things, whatever those past life experiences and stuff, are whatever expectations you have, moving forward into the relationship. Discuss those expectations and talk about them. You know, make sure that, you know, you guys are on one accord or whatever. And I think a lot of times, because, you know, and not that you are always going to agree on uh what credit should be of bills or the parenting style or, you know, expectations, but having a conversation and a discussion about it, at least you can talk about it and you know that, oh well, we don't really have the same, you know, thought process on this. You know, her perception is this and mine is this or this, but you can guys gotta be able to come together and find a common ground. You know, dreams, what dreams that you have for life. You know what I mean? Um, if I know, you know, the Lavelle, when you and Dunn got together, and then y'all was kind of young too. But when y'all got together and you started talking about, you know, well, what are some of your dreams, or what are some of your dreams? And you said, you know, I love music. I always love music. You know, and Don was like, okay, cool. So what do you plan on? Do you plan on to do anything with the music? You plan on being a producer? Or you plan on doing something? You know, but if I know these things, I can help you work towards your dreams. But if I don't know these things, you harbor in those dreams or hold them to yourself. I don't know that. I know, you know, there's this big thing around, oh, you can't tell everybody your dreams. You can't share your dreams and stuff with everybody. People steal your dreams. What? Can't nobody steal my dreams, bro.
Yeah.
My dreams are my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I tell you my dreams, what my dreams are, oh man, or you know, this is what I plan to do, and then you decide to go out there and do it. For example, uh, back in the 90s, I wanted a like a god, you know, because we work right next door to the
Gospel shop.
gospel shop. We work right next to the gospel shop, and then so me seeing that, I had these dreams of opening like a gospel, you know, shop with the books in it, have all kinds of stuff in it, the music section, the you know, the clothing, the all kinds of stuff, right? And I shared that with somebody, and I didn't have the money to do it, but this person had the money, and they went and did it. I wasn't mad.
Mm-hmm.
They had the money to do it, and guess what? I'm glad I didn't do it because that was like something that was like a um one of those fly by night drinks. Sometimes we had those, you know, we had this, you know, these ideas, and I'm glad because that ain't something I would have wanted to do long term.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But that person did it, and as far as I know, they still have it. I assume. Um, good morning, Miss Alfreda. So, uh, it's okay, man, to share your dreams with people, especially your mate, or your potential mate. Um, this is another big one, bro. Your health history, or family health history, especially if you're talking about having children, or if you just got serious medical issues, or somebody in your family has serious medical issues that's hereditary in your family. You know, talk about these things. So if it comes up, it's not a big surprise because we already had this. So we knew that this was a possibility. we knew that you having high blood pressure was a possibility. It's on your mama's side, your dad's side, your grandmama, granddaddy had, your cousins. So we knew that was a strong possibility of this showing this ugly face. So let's not, you know, but if we had these conversations and we talk about it, we can be at least, halfway better prepared for it.
Yeah, I think too. I think what happens as well, Tony. We have to really recognize and key on what marriage is and what marriage isn't. And what I mean by that is because everybody, depending on how you grew up, some people lived in single family homes or, out of, divorce homes or whatever the case may be, like your situation. You had a stepfather, your parent was together, one together after so long. Uh, and so a lot of times when you don't, how you see marriage, um, and how you view it, sometimes all those things that we're, talking about in these opportunities here, how you view marriage is going to be very, very vital because if you go into it the wrong way, all this discussion ain't gonna matter. I think a lot of times, especially in this day and time, we got all these reality shows and all this stuff. You see, getting married, they got this, they doing this and doing that. That ain't finna be you. you
Well,
know,
let me ask you this then, because you said it might not be, but if you have this discussion, that may shape your perspective or your viewpoint about marriage and where it should be. Because if you have and you talking about all these different things, and you've had a mom and daddy that was married for 15 years, 20 years, 10 years, or they just divorced right off the rip. And you looked at that and that was your example you had, but then you started talking about these things and you said, this wasn't even present in my mom and daddy relationship or marriage. So you don't think that having this discussion can help shape your perspective of what marriage should be based on you talking about these things?
but what I'm saying is, a lot of times people don't have the discussions because of the way how they view marriage,
Yeah.
especially after now. They just, marriage is really frowned upon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We had a discussion once before. Man, you finna get hitched up. You finna get. How we gonna have a discussion when your thought process on something? You ain't even healthy going into the marriage, let alone
But
having.
that's another reason why I think these discussions are important because if we talking about if we even alluding to the fact that we may get married one day, then we start talking about these things, and I find out that your perspective on marriage is way different. Then guess what? We probably shouldn't even be thinking about even getting engaged or married.
Right, exactly. That's what.
You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
this discussion, but that's why these discussions are important because it can help shape your perspective one way or the other, or find out what your partner's or mate's perspective is on even the whole ideology of marriage and how it's supposed to be. Because they may come in saying, "Well, my mom and daddy did it like this," and then you looking at that, and you've been dating them for a year, and you've seen how they mom and daddy interact, and you saying that ain't the way I want my marriage to be because I had a good example of real my mom and daddy. My mom and daddy was nothing like your mom and daddy married.
Right.
you know. So um, I do think that if you had examples, and there's some people are smart enough to see uh and understand, even though my parents were married, they were miserable. And I don't want my marriage to be like that. Because kids know, bro. They know when y'all just together, just be together. Because they miserable. They together, but they miserable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they can see also that, man, when I tell you my kids look at me and Monk and look at our marriage, and bro, they they adorn. I'm talking about, bro, like they look at it and then they friends and stuff look at it. They tell they, I want to be like, man, I want my marriage to be like y'all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we don't have, you know, things that go on in our marriage. We do. But that's a part of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what my kids have seen, they done seen the struggles and they done seen how we have overcome the struggles
Mm-hmm.
and gotten stronger. And they saying, that's what I want mine to look like. That's what I want mine to be like.
Yeah, one thing that I always key in on, and you already know, I've shared this so many times. In the marriage vows, this is one particular segment says, and they shall become one. Y'all ain't gonna be one when y'all get married. It's gonna be an evolving thing. You're always gonna be becoming one. That's why, like you said, the discussions are important, and these discussions are gonna be ongoing. This is not a one-stop
Oh
shop.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah. Because I
when
think
you
this right here having these discussions prior to
when you get
just
45,
introduces it. It
yeah,
just introduces it, long term to what we should be continuing to talk about and have these discussions about.
right. Yeah, so and I think that gentleman that reel we watched some months back, you know, you should be evolving, every 60 to 90 days and trying to become better than what you were, what I'm saying? And you guys got to work on yourselves individually and collectively,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And then pour into each other for those opportunities. And, what I'm saying? You're doing a good job. Keep up the good work, and encouraging each other in these
Right.
situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, bro,
I think sometimes, we do base a lot of our relationship and what happens in our relationship based on what we've seen
mm-hmm,
or whatever examples that we've had in relationship, whether it be uh grandmama, granddad, aunts, uncles, mom and dad, whoever. And sometimes we'll base the whole foundation of our marriage or our relationship based on what we've saw or seen in those relationships.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's important. You said something at the beginning of this, and you said there's no one stop,
What's that?
one size fits all for any marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not. Marriage isn't a one size fit all, you
Right.
know. But I think the general discussion of these items that we're talking about now, just having general discussions either before marriage, even during marriage, I think will help you throughout the marriage if you're
Mm-hmm.
having these conversations. And if they're healthy conversations, they're healthy conversations and not just we barking at each other because uh you done went out there and created 6 more bills and we already struggling to pay the bills we have. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But if we talked about these bills prior to, and that's why I said it shouldn't be. Maybe the situation that you've gotten yourself in is embarrassing for you. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? You overextended yourself credit wise. You've gotten a lot of credit. You've done some things. You filed bankruptcy. Whatever the situation may be. You feel like it's a little embarrassing, but you owe it to your partner to share these things with them because they may be having expectations of coming in. We're gonna go soon. Come in. We'll go get this house and the house with the white picket fence and the 2-car garage and then you come in here and you got $150,000 in debt. You done filed bankruptcy. You got a 400 credit score. This person like, I ain't know none of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't care how embarrassing you think it is. You owe it to your mate. Y'all owe it to each other to share, so y'all can try to work through that.
Yeah. But how my testimony is, with our marriage, bro. When I was like refining myself when I got married. Kind of starting all over. Like my mom had got killed. I was kind of in and out of some relationships, and this really will be my first time ever saying this. Honestly, after my mom passed, and the whole relationship, I really didn't even want to be with anybody because I was broken. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how I was gonna bounce back off this, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And then I had my breakdown and all that stuff. All that thing happened, and man, I almost got choked up there. Um, so I honestly, I really, man, because I didn't know what life was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? When I reflected, look back at it, I was like, bro, I ain't forget everything. You know what I'm saying? And then just how everything happened, man. Dawn literally came in my life and saved my life. To be honest with you, because she didn't have no type of unrealistic expectations, if you will. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? When she married me, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have no job. You know what I'm saying, I ain't had no vehicle. Now I had a job. She would take me to work, but I had, I was in between or whatever. And we were talking yesterday on the way to the eye doctor, just reflecting, man, how God has blessed us. And
But she even told you too, though. So you have to give her credit for having a listening ear and being obedient to what God said, because God said, God told her, "Hey, he gonna be your husband,"
mhm,
and she was open to the idea. So she didn't come to you with a judgmental eye at that point and say, "Lord, you must be crazy. He ain't even got no car."
mhm,
She said, "I hear you, Lord. I'm gonna wait, but I'm gonna, when y'all started dating or whatever." She was like, "Okay, I'm gonna." So she didn't turn the idea off of of you potentially being her husband because you didn't have no car, you was in between jobs and here, there, whatever. That wasn't, she was being obedient and listening. And I think
mhm,
that adds to y'all relationship and the dynamic of y'all relationship, because she was obedient in that sense.
mhm. You do good. You do good.
So I listen too, and I heard a testimony where a lady said, uh, she had in her life, she had been a person that, you know, was having sex, promiscuous, having sex and stuff like that. And she said, "Lord, I'm tired." She said, "I don't want to have sex no more. I don't even want to have sex. Like, if somebody want to marry me, I don't want to have sex. I don't even want to kiss a dude. Like, I don't want to kiss him. So
Mhm,
I don't even want the guy to kiss me before we marry." Right? And so she said every relationship, every time she went out on a date with somebody and they try to lean in and kiss her, she'll shut it down and be like, "Okay." And then she's like, "That ain't the guy. That ain't the guy." Right?
mhm,
So when she met her now husband, he told his story. He said, it's crazy because he said the Lord had spoke to him, and he said he had kind of was taking her on a date or whatever. And Lord said, "Hey, just do me this one. Just do me this one. Just don't try to kiss her. Don't try to kiss her or nothing. Don't try to do nothing." He was like, "Man, what? Don't try to kiss her or nothing."
mhm.
And so he did try to kiss her. And then he said they was having a conversation. He was like, "Yeah, um, the Lord had spoke to me and told me not to kiss you. So I didn't want that to deter you in any kind of way." And she said that like, "That's what I asked the Lord for."
Mm,
I asked the Lord, you know, "Send me a man that ain't gonna want to kiss me until we get married."
mm,
And that's how they got together. So, man, we have to be obedient to what we hear God tell us, man. But first of all, we have to be open and receptive. So sometimes,
mm,
man, we gotta clear everything off our plate. All this stuff that we dealing with that's got our mind clouded and judgmental, and all this stuff that's raining and just overtaking our mind. Sometimes we have to just go into a fasting and praying, because fasting and praying been on my mind and my heart so much lately, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna talk to you about us going into a fasting and praying thing, man. Even about this show, bro.
mm.
That we gonna take a week, whatever, and do a fasting and praying, man. Where we going about this show, but um, you have to clear your mind of some stuff, man. Some stuff that you can't let go. We can't let these things go, man. And sometimes we have to set that stuff down and set it to the side, man, and have some quality time with God, man, so He can talk to us. Come on, now.
Block out the outside interferences.
Gotta be able to talk to us, and we got to be able to hear what He's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's definitely important in when you're talking about discussing marriage, is who are your outside influences? Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? Are you listening to God? Because I do believe that people enter into these marriages and relationships unequally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into these things, you ain't prayed about them. You ain't asked God. God ain't told you that was a person for you. The women out here, they looking for the guy. That go against what the Bible said. The Bible said, he that findeth a wife find a good thing. He ain't said the woman that find a husband find a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do he find the wife, he find a good thing, but he find favor.
Mm-hmm.
So he also find favor with God.
Right.
But in order for him to find you, you got to be out here available for him to find you. If you're stuck in the house every day, all day, it might be a little hard for him to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Rodney. Good morning, Miss Paulette.
Tony, also, I just want to throw this segue in here. This somebody did earlier last week. I forgot to even share it. But if you guys ever want to come in on the, we'll put this in the group and on the page. If you guys ever want to come in on the discussion that we're having, literally, if you just want to be on your phone, scan this QR code. You ain't even got it. It's gonna bring you right in, and just kind of let us know in the chat that I want to come in and ask a question or whatever the case may be, so that we'll know that you're coming on. We'll have you in the backstage. But literally all you gotta do is just scan this QR code, and it's gonna bring you right into the show. Because I want us to be more engaging and more. I know it's early in the morning. Sometimes maybe I might be presentable, but we literally, I don't think we can literally turn their camera off, or you can just literally talk, but you don't even have to see. So.
It's giving me an error, so I don't know. I just try to do it and check it. It's giving me an error.
I hadn't checked the news. Let me see. I got it out. I used the link. I might need to do it over. It's going to stream y'all. But now it gave it an error. It said, "Oops, there's nothing here."
Yeah. So it's an error.
Yeah, I may need to redo it then. I don't know. I mean, it went to stream y'all, and then it kicked out.
Yeah, it said it did. It says a 4. I don't know what a 404 error is, but it's an error. But anyway,
it started like you was going to the page, and then it stopped. I try to do it again.
Yeah, he's gonna work on that for y'all. Yeah. Get that straight. And so having the idea of having these conversations prior to marriage or prior to getting engaged, I think is very, very healthy. I think, just having these conversations, talking about your beliefs, your health history, your beliefs. What beliefs do you have? And not just religious beliefs, but beliefs in general. Like, what kind of morals you have? What kind of values do you have? What's your belief system? Because that can be totally different to me. Because when I hear people talk about, even now, they talk about, because I sometimes I have a lot of conversations with people. I just meet people and just talk to people a lot of times. Mark said, "Well, you don't never meet no stranger." I'm like, "No, we talk." But you can find out real quickly what a person's belief system. Like yesterday, we were sitting in the hospital. We were sitting at a kind of like a high top table, kind of like it was me, my niece, Monica, and 2 of my sister friends. And we were sitting there having a conversation about eating vegetables and stuff like that. Eating vegetables and stuff like that, and soups and what back in the day when mom and them used to put in the soups. And I said, I think they used to put whatever was left in the refrigerator, all the leftovers that was left over, they would pour it all into a pot and call it soup. They'll pour all the beans that they had left, all the corn, all of the peas and everything, pour it in one bowl and then give you some cornbread and tell you, you know, it's just, you know. And while we was talking about that, this elderly white lady that was sitting close to us, she started talking, yeah, and my mom used to do the same thing. She used to take this stuff and put it in, you know, same, you know, you can hear from talking to her that she was raised a certain way, kind of like we were, you know, even though that's probably two different backgrounds. You can hear her talk about how her mom used to take all the leftover stuff that was in the refrigerator and put it in one pot, and she called it goulash or something. And the girl said, yeah, that's what my mommy called goulash, you know. And so, and I was like, she did, and then the girl said that she just jumped in our conversation, but I'm cool with it. When people here over here, you know, people can identify and recognize. I don't have a problem with people doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just add to the conversation and just let me know, man, like, you know, we do have some commonality where we try to make it, you know, we always try to make it like we're so much different than them, you know. But we do have some commonalities and common threads that, you know, that ties us together, bonds us together, and we just don't want to claim it or we don't want to recognize it, but we do, you know. So, but beliefs, man, whatever the beliefs are, you guys need to have a conversation and talk about those beliefs. What's the belief? What is our belief system? What's your belief system? You know, because it can make a difference in the relationship as you start to navigate through that relationship and realize, or you come to a decision making, and this person believes one thing, you believe something else. That's a crossroad, brother. Y'all, you know, the child probably should have had a conversation prior to. And this right here needs to be super. Like when I tell you, this needs to be shared. If you got anybody who's looking to get married, go into whatever the situation may be, this is one of those things that y'all really need to share with them, because this is crucial. This is a crucial part of getting married, of being married. And if people are not having these conversations, it could be, you know, it could be detrimental to your relationship. You know, and so I think if you know people that are thinking about getting married, you got kids thinking about getting married, whatever, share this video with them, because it's important that they start to have these conversations. Likes and dislikes. That's important, bro. The likes and dislikes. You know, what do you like and dislike? You know, and if I understand that, I know not to rub you the wrong way in this area. If you don't like it, why would I do it if I know you don't like it?
Right.
You know, fears. Monica has always known one of my greatest fears is fears of height. She know I'm scared of heights.
Right.
She know I don't like to get on nothing too tall. Or and then a lot of times she be wanting, well, let's go up here, way up here, and I be like, babe, you know. And she be like, I know, babe, it's gonna be okay. She be trying to talk me into, and sometimes I do it because I know she want to do it. Bro, when we did the parasailing, bro, I called on Jesus' name so much up there. Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus, that thing was heavy. That thing had us bang so far up in the air. That thing, that wind was jerking us, and all I kept thinking was, man, what if this line snap and break up? This wind jerking us.
Right.
Woo, bro. My nerve was so bad, bro, up there. Yeah. I ain't never doing it. I did it. I ain't never doing it again. But that was a fear. That was fearful for me, but I did it because she wanted to do it. We go way to the top. Every time we go to Vegas, we stay in the Strat, and we go way to the top of the Strat to the lookout and be up there looking out. And I'd be up there looking out, and it'd be beautiful, but at the same time, I'd be like, oh, I need to go sit down. Let me go have a drink. We do it. Paulette says, if health issues is not discussed, it can be a serious problem in a marriage. I have heard on several people say, if I had known that about their health or family health, they would not have married them. It's important. it's important that we discuss these things. My morals are traditional. Some of the things on this list should be discussed anytime there's going to be a cohabitation, even with friends. Yeah.
Yeah. And right now, I know that you know, I don't know if you know mind sharing, but right during our podcast getting started, I don't know if you discussed it. It was, you know, personal to you. I know you end up going through a divorce, and you know, I know some of the things that we had shared together that you know you kind of, you know, was kind of going through some things with that situation, and you know, still in prayer with you about that, bro. And hopefully you can find love again. Yeah, so because he really didn't say nothing to nobody. I didn't even know till like I kind of picked it out, so to speak. But yeah,
Yeah, you know, and you can be traditional, and some of these things, I think all these things are things that you can discuss. But I think they are very crucial in terms of relationships, especially when you talking about, like Rodney said, cohabitate, living together, whatever you want to call it. When you're talking about, you know, now we finna live together, and again, you know, like with Monica and I, we lived together probably a year or so before we actually got married. So, you know, there were some things that we found out about that we didn't discuss. We found out about each other, but it wasn't like deal breaker things.
mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't things that was deal breakers for the relationship. Like Paulette said, you know, sometimes, you know, people, you know, they don't discuss their family health issues, and they know they're dealing with these bad family issues, or maybe just dealing with an issue they self that they haven't shared, and then they done got married. Now they want to share after the fact. This person like, now I got to go through all this with you, and if I had known this, I probably would have never married you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's important to talk about these things. Again, I've seen people do the same thing with bills and credit. You know, they I ain't know you had all these daggone bills. I ain't know your credit was shot like that, because you ain't even had that conversation.
Yeah, there, bro.
You ain't even had the conversation at all.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to hear you say that, bro. A lot of time, man, you know, with men, man, you know, when we go through certain things, we just kind of like duck and dodge, and you know, I ain't gonna worry about it no more. But that's good for you to declare that. Good stuff, Doc.
Now, you know, everybody deserves to be loved and to find love. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do believe uh that God is not. I don't think God is the type of person that will create somebody and not create somebody for that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always say there's somebody for everybody,
Correct.
and there is. You know, they out here. They just gotta
Mm-hmm.
find you, women, ladies. They just gotta find you. They out here,
Right.
guys, fellas. They out here.
Yeah.
You just gotta find them,
Yeah. Most definitely.
and you might have to weed through all the BS.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you this. Ooh. But if you establish a relationship with God, what he said? He said, "Let the tare and the wheat grow together." He said, "I separate the tare from the wheat."
Mm-hmm.
So let them go together, man. If you have the relationship with God, God will weed them out for you. Just
Mm-hmm.
like that lady said. Man,
Yeah.
give me one that ain't gonna kiss me before we get married.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna even want to kiss me before we get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then God spoke to the man and said, "That's gonna be your wife right there. Just do me one thing, man. Just don't kiss. Don't try to kiss."
Yeah.
Man, God works like that, bro. He awesome like that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do it, man. But you gotta have a relationship, and you gotta be able to, you know, like I said, cut out some of this outside noises and interfering, man, and quit listening to Quit listening to that single person in your life or that person that's in this bad relationship trying to give you a relationship advice. They're in the worst relationship ever, and you get relationship advice from them. And their relationship is toe up over there. Unless they telling you, don't be like my relationship, girl, do the opposite. You know. And they single is single. And a lot of times, even when I look at some of these podcast shows and I listen to the some of the women that be bashing the guys, have horrible things to say about guys, and then the man would say, are you currently in a relationship? Oh, well, no, I'm not in a relationship. We was the last had in a relationship. You know, you giving all this saying all this stuff, and you ain't even in a relationship. Can't maintain a relationship. No. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
You're not qualified to give me no advice. Unless you're telling me not to do what you did in yours. Right. Do the opposite of what I did in mine, because that didn't work.
Right.
You're not qualified. I'm gonna say this, and if you are a woman that's got multiple baby dads, and you can't keep a relationship, can't stay in a relationship, got all these baby dads, you ain't qualified. You are not qualified to give me any relationship advice. None. Because it's evident that in your decision making is screwed. You have poor decision making skills. You have poor decision making skills.
Yeah, you've said this several times. I think a lot of times, and some men know this, a lot of times, and again, the woman did allow it, don't get me wrong, but because women are so vulnerable and a lot of times they be so broken, they'll put themselves in situations, like you say, with a bad decision, and they keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. That's insanity. But at the same time,
and you ain't. What did you just say? You ain't even healed from the other trauma that you experienced in a relationship.
Right.
That's a bad decision for you to even enter a new relationship.
Really, that ain't even no relationship. Y'all just bone.
Now they call a relationship. They actually date the person and all that for a minute.
Sometimes, yes and no. One of them was just passing through, picking up another.
Yeah, I guess, but and you know, and to be honest with you, it really ain't no different when you got a guy that's been around here jumping in every hole, sowing his seed in every hole. You know, he got 12 babies by 12 different baby mamas. He just as broken.
Yep, he is, absolutely.
Now I watched the show. This judge was ordering this dude to well, I guess he had been in jail for child support, and he was trying to get out, and he said the lady was trying to put him on child support, and he was talking to her. He was currently incarcerated, and she's saying, well, when you get out, can you pay the? He was like, well, Your Honor, I got 12 children. She said, 12 children. He said, yeah. And then she said, so he said, I got one with her, like that. And so I guess the other 11, and he went to name the kids, bro. And several of them was the same age. She said, so you was just sleep. Yeah. I got a 14, a 12-year-old, 2 10-year-olds, a 2 11-year-olds. I got 2 8-year-olds, like, dude, right? It's crazy. What are we trying to do out here, bro? What are we really doing?
He was throwing his wild oats on it.
But it's a lot of guys out here like that. It's a lot of guys out here like that. And so I think the women ought to ask the question. You know, just like the men ask the question, sometimes they do. Sometimes we don't ask nobody no question. We just go out here boning because everybody's boning. But if you stop and start having some conversation, and you realize, oh, this woman has 6 kids and 6 different baby daddies, you like, nope, I'm not gonna be baby dad number 7. Or woman, women, if you ask the man, oh yeah, I got 12 kids, 12 different baby mamas. Nope, I'm not finna be 13. Nope. Especially if he not already showed you or she done showed you what she all about anyway.
Mhm.
That ain't gonna change for you.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
But come on, let's clock that T, bro.
I said, yeah, we ain't got number 5 minutes.
Let's clock that T with our girl. We'll close it out with her clocking that T.
Good morning, good morning, good
Come
morning.
on, little
Y'all know
background.
what time it is. Put them phones down, fingers up. It's time to clock that tea with your girl, Queen Watkins. I hope y'all are having an amazing morning. But y'all know what time it is. Time to clock that tea. Yeah, it's been a video going very viral, right? I mean, through the roof of African American guy that made a video stating that before he leaves the house, he makes sure he got his pistol on him, locked and loaded, right? Because he knows that his own people ain't no telling what they gonna do, how they gonna do it, when they gonna do it, where they gonna do it. So old boy said before he leave the house, he makes sure, you know what I'm saying, that he protected, right? So he said he don't do it for Hispanics and do it for Caucasian people, but he do it for his own people. Now I get where you're coming from with that, but at the end of the day, realistically speaking, it don't matter what color you are, what neighborhood you're in. A crazy person gonna do crazy person shit. No matter where you at, what you doing, how you doing it, right? But I do understand what he's saying far as it's our own people that's hurting each other. Like he could go out in public and he could speak to African American people, but when he speaks to white people, they speak right back, right? It's like a respectful thing. Not always. Now, not not always, but sometimes that's true. And I also can't agree with all black people are this, that, and the third, with the bam, because I know some that's not, right? So I get it that you're categorizing African Americans because, you know, of statistics, so to say, and what you see on a daily basis. So I get it. I'm not down at old boy or nothing. The whole internet is debating right now because the internet is trying to figure out like why is he solely focused on African Americans? But then some people are like saying that hey, it's just a true statement. We out here offing each other. We so worried about Trump doing stuff. We offing each other. We doing shit to each other. And so he was saying that he also went out and his girl was yelling out the window saying something, I don't know. And there's a group of ninjas, right? They had something to say. So him and his boy had to get on guard. That's sad that we can't really go anywhere and not have, you know, a pistol or something to protect us. But at the end of the day, it's reality, right? How can we change it? What do we do? Right? You can't, especially after you get a certain age. Ain't no turning back from the shit that's instilled in you. It starts at home, for real. It starts at home. But then again, you got parents out here blaming themselves because of what their children are doing when they know they tried their damnedest. So at the end of the day, what do, right? Besides, protect yourself and your family out here because you never know what's going on. Yes, you train up a child in the way that they should go so they will not depart. But here, some of these kids are trying to grandma, mama still in church every Sunday, 8 a.m. with them stockings on. You know what I'm saying? Treat those did what they needed to do by those children. But they made their own decisions. So what do you do? All right, y'all. That's all the tea that I have today. Make sure y'all tune in to 2 Men in Hats Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. sharp. And don't forget to stay tuned for your girl, Queen Watkins Clock. That's it. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.
I love that little girl. Yeah, man.
Man, this go back to the conversation we had with Marcus a
Oh
few,
yeah.
couple of weeks ago. And he basically said, man, ain't nothing we can do. We asked the question, what can we do? He said, ain't nothing we can do, man. That's up to God. Man, God gonna have to just do what he do. It's already this is written in the Bible. Like all this stuff that's going on is in the Bible. And it ain't a whole lot you can do, but just keep praying. Just like the and then the parent, a lot of times, the parents just to blame as the kids, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, Charlamagne the God, he put this girl and her mama on the jackass wall. So this little young teenage girl works at McDonald's. Now this is the second McDonald's incident in a few weeks.
Oh wow.
But this young girl works at McDonald's. Her manager asks her to take the trash out.
Mm-hmm.
She refuses. She tells the manager no. So the manager tells her, okay, instead of firing her, clock out, go home. Boom.
Right.
The girl go home and get her 35-year-old mama. Her 35-year-old mama then proceeds to go back up there. They go behind the counter and into this girl where the girl at in the office. Into the office, talk crazy to the lady. Instead of her saying, well, hey, why did you send my daughter home? Well, I asked her to take the trash. No, she comes there acting crazy and she hits the manager. The manager pulls out a pistol and shoots her in the leg.
Mm.
Now the manager's in jail. Both of them got charged with aggravated whatever, but the manager's in jail, and I guess the girl was in the hospital. But I don't feel like the manager should have went to jail.
Nope, sure shouldn't.
And she probably gonna lose her job because she at the job, she probably gonna end up losing her job too. So just because these parents are condoning this foolishness of these kids,
Yep.
and just as foolish, where do you think she getting her behavior from? You done took your silly self up there instead of you going up there talking to say, hey, I just want y'all to find out what's going on. She said you sent her home. Yeah, well, I asked her to clean the trash and then she didn't do it, and I sent her home. I mean, I could have fired her, and I just sent her home. Told her clock I go home. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, next time she asks you to do something, you do and go take your butt home. But you want to get up there and act a fool and clown. This what the kids are getting the behaviors from. We acting just as stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. Man, don't y'all forget, man, our homeless tent giveaway. I didn't get a chance to put it up there, but don't forget that. Our Cash App is rolling across the bottom if you want to order a tent. Again, we don't want to wait till the last minute. Just like I told you guys yesterday, we don't want to wait till the last minute with all of these tariffs and stuff being entered and it's taking longer to get stuff. We definitely don't want till the last minute. What I did notice too is that when I ordered those tents in the backpack off Temu, they were coming from a local warehouse. So make sure you select if you're gonna order them yourself and order them and give them. Select local warehouse, and then they'll come locally. They won't come from across seas, and they'll come from a local warehouse. Yes. And if they coming from a local warehouse, we'll get them a lot quicker. But definitely check that. So make sure we just want to be prepared. Last year we had almost 90 tents. We want to double that this year. We want to also add sleeping bags, backpack, anything that the homeless may need to make being out living on the street as comfortable as possible. Some of them are gonna be there. They don't care what you do for them. That's what they do. They gonna do. Don't care what kind of help you give them. So let's try to make it. If they gotta be out there, make it as comfortable as possible for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have, bro. You got anything else?
Nope, I think I got the QR code working. Why is it black? Never mind. I fix it. Oh my God. Anyway.
Well, he working on that QR code. So if you ever want to come on the guest, you just click that QR code and just jump in there and say what you got to say. Jump off.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, again, thanks you guys for your prayers on yesterday
The
again.
portable seats. She said, don't forget the portable seats. Yeah, anything that can help them, um, be comfortable. Like stuff like that. And I even said like the little outdoor cooktop, little one stop, where it runs off batteries or whatever, little cooktop stove, something like that where they can use out there. Inverters, power inverters. If you got, like the little small power, but they got something about this big that's got like a solar power, they can sit it out in the sun all day and it charges and they can power if they have like the cell phones, they can power stuff. So anything like that, man, we're gonna be giving away power inverters, whatever you could think of. But we want to focus first on the tents. And if you buy a tent and you want to buy something different, like one of those extra items that we just talked about, cool. But we want to focus on the tents first. The tents. So I'm doing tents and items. So I'm buying both, and that way we'll have a blanket, whatever. Like I said, whatever we can get. Yeah, I got the collapsible seats that I showed y'all that I bought on TikTok. The little collapsible seats that pop up and pop down. They got them easily, something that they can stick in a backpack and pull it and take it with them. So anything that y'all can think of that may help them out there. But like I said, we want to focus on the tents first, and then all the other stuff is around it. And so I'm already starting now to purchase stuff and buy stuff because I don't want to wait till the last minute. And I don't want to do it. I'm trying to do it while I got a little change in my pocket too. I don't want to do it when I'm broke. So while you got a little change in
We
your
want to go
pocket,
ahead and nail down. Are we going to do the same park that we did last year?
same park. The name of that park is I thought you had did a flyer with added to it, or you said you was gonna add it to it.
We hadn't discussed it yet. So since you've been running it very, very hard this week, I want to go ahead and put that information in there, because when I made this, I just said to be announced.
Morris Park.
Okay.
At Manassas and Poplar. Morris Park.
We're still gonna shoot with this time and this date.
Yep. That's the Saturday before
Thanksgiving.
Right. The Saturday before Thanksgiving. That park is probably gonna be loaded with people out there, but it's Morris Park right there at Manassas and Morris Park. It's called Morris Park right there at Manassas and Poplar.
747 Poplar.
Yep, it's right there at Manassas and Poplar. Right down, you'll see. You can't miss the little park. There's a lot of homeless people hang out there.
Okay.
So that's where we're gonna be at. And so again, whatever you guys, focus on the tents first, and then after you're able to purchase a tent, like I said, the tents were like $16 with tax, about $21. After you get the tent, if you want to get a sleeping bag, a blanket, whatever, just donate that stuff, and we'll find somewhere to hold. I don't know. I had to find a storage facility or something we can hold. I just want so much of it, man, that I got to make 2 or 3 truckloads. That we can come out there and set all that up.
Also, y'all got other organizations and other individuals that want to partner with us as well. We also would consider
exactly.
That as well.
Yeah. Last year we had Tatrice Douglas with Sweet Teas Treats. She made all of our snack bags. She donated and made all the snack bags. And if we hadn't talked to Tatrice this year, if she wants to be a part of that, I'm gonna see if I can reach out to her. But anybody that if you got a business or you want to partner with us, we welcome it. We definitely welcome it. All right, that's all we have, man. Thank you guys for tuning in with us and sharing with us.
And we go ahead and start pushing that.
Yep. And I'll see if we can get to Tatrice and see if she's gonna join with us this year or somebody else. We'll try to work it out. I'm actually reaching out to. I got Monica reaching out to a couple of her old connects that run companies to see if they'll make a donation. So that'll help us buy more tents and more other items as well. Yep. All right. So thank you guys again. We appreciate it, man. Come on, pray us out, Lavelle.
All right, let's pray. Most gracious, eternal God, our Father, Lord God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. Thank you for Cheryl and Don again coming out of surgery, doing well and recovering. We ask you to touch the speedy recovery, that they come back better than they were. Continue to touch Tony family, my family, Queen family. Continue to touch our efforts for Too Many Hats. Continue to Give us the subjects and the thought matters to help people become better than they version than they were on yesterday. And we ask you to do this in your darling son Jesus' name, and we said amen.
Amen, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow, same bad time.
Same bad place.
Too many hats. Let's talk about it.
It's the 2 Minute Hats podcast with your hosts with the most, Tony and Lavelle. Every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock That He. Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. 2 Minute Hats podcast.
Come on. Yeah, 2 minutes.